It's probably my favourite shoe of the year so far in terms of the ones I've tested. So welcome back to the channel. Today I have a full review of the On Cloudmonster, an absolute beast of a shoe. It lives up to its name. This is On's latest shoe, a maximal cushioned road trainer designed for your easy, medium to long runs. That's how it's been advertised. I've been trying it over the last 2 weeks. I've since put 100 miles in this shoe, and I've done a wide range of different types of runs. So I've done my easy, my treadmill, a few sessions. I've even done a track session. So I feel like I'm in a good place now to give you my full review of this shoe. I was fortunate enough to be one of the first people to try out this On Cloudmonster. I went along to one of the On conferences where we got to try out this shoe over a 5-kilometer run around London. It was a really early morning run on a Sunday, I think. So yeah, the streets were completely empty. We got to run over Tower Bridge, and yeah, it was a really cool experience. So I'll overlay some of the footage from that day. So this shoe has just come out on the day I am making this video, so the 31st of March. I'll go over some of the key specs, how I've used this shoe so far. I'll then go over my likes and dislikes on this model and how I'm going to use it moving forward. So we'll start with the upper and we'll work our way down. So this shoe has a fully gusseted tongue, which means it's attached to the upper on both sides. It just allows that tongue to sit really nicely on top of the foot. And that combined with this offset lacing system, which is quite common on the newer On running shoes, gives the shoe a really nice fit on top of the foot. You've got a nice heel counter here, a lot of padding in this heel box, which gives you a really nice comfortable ride, especially on those longer runs. Moving on to the midsole, this shoe has the Helion Super Foam, and it's been molded into these cloud pods or elements here. This shoe has 10 of them, slightly bigger than what we're used to with other On running shoes, and I think that's one of the secrets behind why this shoe has been so fun to run in for me. This shoe also has the speedboard technology that if you've run in On shoes before, you'll know about. It's basically a plastic plate, not carbon fibre. I believe it's made from a compound called polypropylene or something like that, which gives the shoe a nice bit of stability, but it also helps with that explosive toe off, and it allows that foam to compress and then the energy to be returned through your foot strike. So it's quite a clever technology. If you've run in shoes with carbon plates, it basically works on the same principle. And this shoe has a 6mm drop from heel to toe. I couldn't find online anywhere about the actual stack height of this shoe, but I reckon it's around 35mm, maybe even up to 38mm in the heel. A maximal cushion shoe for sure, and you can really feel that when you're running. It gives you a nice bit of protection from the ground. And the price point for this shoe is £150, and in my men's UK size 8 it weighs 275 grams, which is an improvement from the Cloud Stratus, which I think was about 20-30 grams heavier. I was actually expecting this shoe to be a little bit heavier than it was, having seen it in images. Obviously it's a maximal cushion shoe, everything's been beefed up. One of the taglines for this shoe that On are using is "Get Weird," or "Weird for a Reason," and that really does summarize this shoe. It is a real fun, max cushioned, nice and responsive daily trainer. Moving on to my first impressions. So when I put this shoe on my foot and I was just walking around, I noticed the sort of rocker-like geometry that this shoe has. It really wants to get you up onto the toes, and this area of the shoe is almost angled like that, sort of upwards, and you can really feel, especially when you start to run in it, it wants to get you up onto your toes, which for me really helps with my running efficiency. So something I really like. If you've run in Hoka shoes, they're famous for their sort of rocker-like geometry, and this has a very similar feel to something like the Clifton or the Bondi from Hoka. You can definitely feel these cloud pods sort of compressing as you run, all individually, especially in the heel of the foot, or heel and midfoot. Basically when you land, you can feel them all individually compress, and then they sort of spring you off. And a really unique sensation, definitely not something you're going to experience in any other shoe. Another one of my first impressions was the energy return, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, if I'm totally honest. This is more of a maximal cushion shoe designed for the long, easy runs, so I wasn't expecting too much in terms of responsiveness, but yeah, it performed really well, especially when I tried to put this shoe through a few strides. I was getting a really nice energy return from this midsole and speedboard partnership, which yeah, surprised me. And my final first impression was just how fun it was to run in this shoe. It's a really bouncy, playful ride. Yeah, straight out of the box, bright purple. It's a really good looking shoe, and it's just, yeah, has a real good feel factor to run in. And I think if you get this shoe for your rotation, you're going to find yourself gravitating towards it quite a lot, especially for those easy runs when you can't really be bothered. This just makes things a little bit more exciting. But yeah, moving on to how I've used this shoe so far. As I said in the introduction, I've now put 100 miles in this shoe, 161 kilometers for those who run in kilometers. And the majority of those runs have been easy runs. I'd say I've done about 10 to 12 easy runs in this shoe. I've done 2 runs on the treadmill. Wasn't too hot. It's always a good heat test, I find, when with shoes, is try them out on the treadmill. If your feet get too hot, then you know they're not very breathable. But I didn't have any hot spots or issues with the treadmill runs. I've also used this shoe for some sessions. I'm a firm believer that just because a shoe is designed for your easy runs, it doesn't mean you can't use it for faster stuff, and you should definitely give it a try, because different people's foot strikes work different in different shoes basically. So the 3 sessions I've done in it so far are a 30-minute threshold, which was just last night. I put them all up on screen here. I did a 3 times 10-minute threshold session, which is my sort of Tuesday morning staple, and I've also done a track session in it. Now on that middle threshold run, the 3 times 10-minute, I was expecting the shoe to be a little bit on the heavy side, a little bit slower than say when I do that session in my Vaporflies or Alpha Flies from Nike, the more carbon plated fast shoes if you like. But surprisingly, my splits were exactly the same in the Cloudmonster as they were in the Alpha Fly the previous week, which was, yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me again. On the track workout, again, it performed really well. It's not designed for track stuff. It's designed for the road. However, it performed really well, nice and stable in the corners, and I actually ran some really fast kilometers in this shoe. 2:54 I think was the fastest kilometer I did in that session. And yeah, it performed excellent. Moving forward, I'll probably use it mainly for my easy runs and longer runs, but if you want to pick up the pace, I certainly feel comfortable doing that. With other on shoes that I've got, so for example the Cloud Stratus, that is an out and out easy day shoe for me. It doesn't feel like it wants to go any faster than my easy pace, whereas this shoe, yeah, it's completely different, and it really wants to get you onto your toes and make you run fast basically. That's how I've found this shoe so far. So yeah, mainly going to be for my easy runs, but I might chuck in the odd tempo and threshold session here and there. It's quite nice if you don't want to have to swap shoes between your warm-up and your track work. This shoe can sort of do a bit of everything, which is a nice surprise. Moving on to my likes and dislikes. So my first like was how lightweight this shoe was in comparison to other models. So like I said, it's about 20 to 30 grams lighter than the Cloud Stratus. You've got more cushioning and it's even more responsive, so I was expecting it to be a little bit on the heavier side than it was, so that was a pleasant surprise. I really like the rocker-like geometry of this shoe, which I think is something new that On are trying. I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time they've used that sort of rocker geometry. Other things I liked were how responsive this shoe was. Again, it's something I wasn't expecting from an easy long run max cushion shoe, typically a soft and protect the legs, but this one really gets you going. And the final big plus point to this shoe is that max cushioned super foam, the Helium super foam. It really helps protect the legs. You wake up and you feel a lot fresher than you do than say if you wore more of a minimal shoe, which I really like in my training. It allows me to recover quicker, to be able to hit higher mileage and do more sessions throughout the week basically. Moving on to some of the dislikes, which is me being a little bit on the picky side, is just the length of these laces. I think they're a little bit on the short side, especially for me doing that runner's knot. If you don't do a runner's knot, then you'll have no issues, but yeah, I'd have liked a little bit more laces maybe. And my final dislike was a little bit of a concern with these shoes. The decal on my left shoe, this is the right one, has actually come away from the upper, as you can see here. I'm not sure if it's because these shoes that were sent to us early have not gone through the usual sort of quality control, but yeah, it's completely come away from the upper there. I've ordered some super glue just to stick that back down, but if you're going to be paying £150 for a shoe, you wouldn't expect something like that to happen after just 100 miles. So yeah, a little bit of a concern there. Again, it is only cosmetic and it hasn't affected the performance of this shoe, which at the end of the day is what we're all here for. So yeah, something to monitor if you do pick up this shoe yourself. So yeah, that pretty much summarises my review of the On Cloudmonster. A really, really fun shoe, probably the funnest shoe I've ever tried. In terms of the ride, it's just really soft, bouncy, playful. Well, these are all the words that sort of come to mind when running in this shoe. I've really thoroughly enjoyed testing it. Moving forward, I'll continue to use it for more of my easy runs, some long runs, and maybe the occasional session there along the way. The only thing I probably wouldn't do is race in this shoe. But yeah, it's a pretty versatile shoe and not just for your easy runs like it's been advertised. It's definitely my favourite on running shoe to date as well. If you're somebody who's not tried on running, then I'd recommend trying the Monster. I think it's a really good introduction to the brand. This is going to fit into your rotation for your easy runs, especially when you're looking for something that's going to help motivate you to get out the door, just because it is such a fun shoe to run in. Super hyped about this shoe. It's probably my favourite shoe of the year so far in terms of the ones I've tested. I look forward to putting more miles in it, but until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire. Really big announcement coming on the channel soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to share that with you. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.